Order. So, and it is 6:15. So we have a few things on the docket. Actually, some of the work we are going to do tonight is the routine deliberations, but we have some reserve fund transfers, and are we going to be able to take cemetery from the table tonight as well?
Yeah, Bud's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't tabled for any changes. It was just
The question, but
just some questions.
yeah,
as I
which is fine.
recall.
Yeah, which I
And
can.
we'll go over that. We'll bring that off the table so we can vote.
Okay.
All right, so we don't have minutes. That's the first thing that was on our agenda. So we'll get to them at our next meeting. Let's start talking. Let's go over the first reserve fund transfer for the town collector. I'll entertain a motion for the transfer.
I'd like to take up the table.
No, this one here is I
My
move.
bad.
This one no, you're fine. This is I move.
I move.
We transfer from the reserve fund, account 132, the amount of $2,500.
Where's the account number? Okay.
The amount of $2,500 to the town collector, and I don't have her number.
Okay.
Town collector, you can bring her down to
Yes,
this,
we
you can
did.
say so much. Or you can say, yeah, so you
Probably
can
about
say
1,000
so.
of it.
Just
Do
give
you
me
want
a
more?
second. Let me get the
Back in
town
August.
collector's number. Town collector.
I don't remember.
Sorry, you don't have
That's it.
to. I do.
Their number? Their
Yeah,
name?
what's
I
the
keep it
account
in.
number for town collector?
I
Do
keep
you
it in
remember?
expenditure report. Yeah, so just one.
Town collector account. What number?
What's the town, what's the, do we?
141.
Yeah,
Let me just
town
make sure.
collector 141.
Okay. So I move to transfer from the reserve fund account number 1325782 in the amount of $2,500 to the town collector. What was the number again?
One, oh, the collector, I'm sorry, it is 146.
146.
Well, no, it's postage, it's not the collector's, it's postage, I think, you're right. 158.
Okay. So that's good.
The postage 158.
Yeah.
Yes.
You need to correct that on that.
158, there it is.
You can mark that piece of paper.
Okay. I
Yes,
just don't know the-
You can
absolutely.
write, go ahead and write on anything you
You
like.
can write on it.
So I can cross out.
Yep, do
I'm
your
gonna
thing.
initial it if you do. Should've caught that myself.
Do you want me to reread it, Bill?
No, he's good.
Okay.
How do I end the movement though?
It's-
I second it.
Motion's been made and seconded for a reserve fund transfer, account 132, to postage, account 158, in the amount of $2,500. Are there any questions concerning the postage?
You need a second.
Yeah.
I second it,
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you.
A little quiet second over here in the corner.
Thanks.
All right, this is, as you see in the transfer, this is because of all of the mailings that are taking place with relationship to the voting pre-registration or something of that nature that everyone is doing. This is probably gonna be something that reoccurs whenever they do this. I thought initially maybe we should put it in, we should maybe think about budgeting it, but I think using the reserve fund might be a better way to do it if we foresee an overrun. Trying to budget, it's gonna be like throwing darts at a moving target and be almost impossible to hit.
Well, what we'd want ultimately is to budget for the year in which there were the least number of elections. And then if we had more elections than was going to be usual. Well, once we get a sense for, how much how many people are gonna be voting by mail. Because
Yeah, it's the
that,
by mail thing,
that's really driving that. And right now, a lot of people are, maybe as many as a quarter of the voters.
So
So,
we're gonna be busy counting?
so that's the,
Okay then.
that's what's driving it. So I think it could be raised to at least the minimum number of elections in a year. And then, maybe the clerk will have a better idea when she submits the next year's budget. Well, we're gonna have this many, we expect this many mail-in ballots. But it probably should be at least the minimum number, so that on a regular year, we don't have to worry about the transfer.
Is this gonna be enough? Melissa wasn't too sure. I didn't know,
Well,
with
it'll-
your discussions with her, did you get?
It'll get us to May,
I'd be okay with getting us to May.
and then we can do a transfer between accounts if we need to.
Okay, yeah, that's kinda how Melissa was thinking it might work out. Okay. Are there any other questions concerning this budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining. That is unanimous, thank you very much. Now, the next one's gonna be a little simpler. What I do with it, I got way too many papers on my desk again. This is not a good thing. The next one is the town. The next one will be the transfer. There, town hall. This is the original though. This one. Unless you're gonna, well, you, okay, that's the original from this side. Okay. All right, so.
Same thing.
Here's
just
the
moving.
same thing as that, and you have the contingency salary, town hall contingency salary.
Okay. All right, so I move to transfer from the reserve fund, account number 132-5782 in the amount of $4,500 to the town hall contingency salary account number 196.
Second,
A motion's been made, seconded to transfer from from the reserve account 132, the amount of $4,500 to town hall contingency salary account number 196. What's happening here?
yeah. So is this due to somebody else being,
There's two of us working pretty much every week, 4 extra hours of pay. And the elections have been open, their offices on the weekends for, I don't know, what is that for?
Early voting.
Early voting. Early voting and, I think beforehand it was to register to
Registration.
vote.
Yeah.
So, so that's continuing, and, you know, there's a couple other people that use that on a irregular basis, but this is hopefully to get us to the end of the year.
is this something also that we should add to the budget?
Budget hasn't come before you yet.
Okay.
So, but
But we
I
think
think
it-
that there's discussion
thinking
that we
about
should
it?
increase it, right?
Yeah, there are different ways that we can approach that,
Okay.
so we can talk
Alright.
about that.
Okay,
You're not gonna invite us? Or are we gonna wait till we get to the
Not
budget?
necessary now.
Suspense. Keep me in suspense, right? Thanks, Tom.
That's fine.
All right. Are there any other questions or concerns with the motion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining, that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Now, let us remove from the table.
Are we doing transfer station?
Let's do transfer station first. So the way it'll read is, remove from the table, from the table. The account, transfer station account 424, isn't it?
434.
430, account 434. Remove from the table account 434, and if you get a second, then we go to discussion. Okay.
All right, I move to move from the table, transfer station account number 434.
Second,
Motion been made and seconded to remove the transfer station from the table, account 434. All those in favor signify in the usual manner.
aye.
All those opposed, All those abstaining, that is unanimous. Transfer station, account 434, voted to be tabled on 2/14/24 in the amount of $48,829 in salaries and expenses of, I'm reading the wrong number, I'm sorry.
480.
Yeah, that was right.
That was right, 232,996 and expenses.
Here, I think this is the,
I
this is the
need
one that
the
was tabled.
original.
Yeah, this is the one that was tabled, this is the
Yeah, I
amendment.
want to read the table one because we're gonna vote,
Right.
we're gonna motion. The amount of, the expense line is, 232,996. For a total, for a total budget of, $281,835. Now, this budget's been revised, the select board took a look at it, and I think it's safe to sort of assume our DPW commissioner has also concurred on this adjustment.
Yeah, it was a, more of a typo issue. There was an encumbrance in July, I think it was July, from June, to pay the bills from June into it. And so we just, I was level funding it, and when I transferred over, the encumbrance was in the number that I had on my expenditure report.
Okay.
So instead of using the number that was voted on in May, so I just
Alright.
fixed it back, that's all.
All right.
So it's $14,000 less.
I'll entertain a motion to amend the budget.
Second? Am I supposed
So
to second? Oh, so moved.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Motion been made and seconded to revise the transfer station budget from salaries at $48,839 to $219,044 for a total budget of $267,883. So we just had a little shift around.
Yep, yep.
Which
Are
brought
there
it
any,
down.
are there any questions about the shift that took place? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, that is unanimous, thank you very much. Okay, so, these are, just to let everyone know, the things that we're doing right now are a form of housekeeping that we're trying to just kind of keep all of our numbers going. We're not just kind of flying through things, we're trying to just get some of this housekeeping done. Now, the next one that was tabled was the cemetery budget. It was tabled on the 14th of February. So if we can do that from the table, that would be good.
Yep, so I move to take from the table the cemetery account, number 491,
Okay.
tabled on 2/14/24.
Second?
Motion been made and seconded to remove cemetery account 491 from the table. It was tabled on 2/14/24. Okay. So, we had some questions, I believe it was on salary, right?
Yep.
For the life of me, I cannot remember the questions.
It was, there was money left in the salaries, and you were wondering kind of why. The
Yeah.
last couple years, our summer help that we get has been high school students. So a lot of times we're not starting until end of June, as opposed to college where I'm getting them in the second week of May. So it's, 2 kids at 4 or 6 weeks of pay.
Right.
It kind of adds out, and then, leaving a little bit early. But
Yeah,
I plan on hiring a third one coming this year, so
Okay.
we're gonna, I'll be absorbing the money that's in that account, pretty much.
Okay, so you'll be able to be using
Not a
it up
problem.
then.
Oh, yeah,
Okay. You think that third one's gonna help?
yep,
Okay.
I know, well, we have plenty of things to do, there's no shortage.
Okay, all right, our town looks pretty nice, the way we keep the lawns trimmed and that, so it's a good thing. All right, so, there hasn't been an adjustment to the motion, so the motion is made was for the cemeteries, Department 491, for salaries of $77,739 and expenses of $22,248 for a total budget of $99,987. Are there any other questions concerning this motion? All those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Our housekeeping is done.
Yeah, whatever it's cemetery,
We
yeah.
didn't, the question was,
That's what I
we
saw.
had looked at, and I don't have it. What was
Yeah,
happening
$4.91.
was the,
I don't know.
the
What do you got?
seasonal help wasn't being used.
Got you,
It
okay,
was-
alright.
We were using like $5,000 of it or something.
I just wanted to see what number.
Yeah, we were kind of wanted to. we were
I mean, I have the
thinking
right
about
one.
lowering it. He's not using it.
Yeah,
got
makes sense.
And it turns out that, he doesn't, he is gonna be
Sure
at
it'll be.
well this year.
I'm sure it could be useful.
Let's- All right. So the next budget. So,
I have this, did you lower that?
It's the encumbrance, you encumbered a lot more. That's what that was. It caught me. It
Let's,
must have been
let's get
changed.
started with the building department.
Oh, okay, and this had to get changed to 1,500, is that what you're saying? Okay. I'll have to go do that.
Find my mouse here and get it up so you can see it.
This should be the one that was approved.
All right.
So that-
Go with the motion.
I was
Do I don't bring this up.
Nope. I move that we approve the building department, Department 240, the amount of salaries of that, 44,000, and expenses of 9,300, total budget of 53,000.
Very good. So I move to approve the building department budget, department number 240, in the amount of total salaries, $44,528. Total budget, $53,558.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the building department budget of $44,258 in salaries and $9,300 in expenses for a total budget of $53,558. All right, Brian is here to give us a little rundown on it. What are we looking for? It looks like,
The one increase that you can see this year coming up is gonna be the software support agreement.
yeah.
The permit program went from 4,860 to 7,400.
Right up here?
Right there, yeah. That's
I'm looking off
a
the
big
old
increase.
sheet.
The permit program that the town uses for their online permitting is doing, a whole new upgrade. They're doing, all the towns that are using it are all getting a new upgrade. So this is gonna be a hopefully one-time fee increase to pay for that upgrade. Now, we've been using this program since 2013, and this is the first time they've done an upgrade, so.
now,
He still
around three,
has that there.
around three, somewhere around,
he's
somewhere in the vicinity of 3
3
grand.
Yeah.
That's why.
And
Is that-
Berkshire Regional Planning
Even though
actually
he says
paid
4
for
here.
a part of it too.
Oh, good.
That was,
So it doesn't-
if all the towns agreed to do it, they got some kind of grant to cover some of the costs.
So, and this is this is for the support of that, so.
This is the.
Will this
program.
decrease next year then, or is it gonna
Yeah,
kind of
no,
stay?
It shouldn't stay at that number, no, it'll go back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Be able to stay
Do you think
for a
we
few
could
years.
cut a few more expenses out? Because there's a lot of expenses you don't really use. Just lowering them a little bit.
Let's take a look at the.
Just
Let's
like,
jump out, let me just jump to the, I have the 5-year review, let's get back to this part here. So, animal control, there it is, building inspector. So what we do, Brian, just kind of let you know what's going on here, we have a really cool document that was made by one of our members. Karen over there, the person that's asking you your questions. So we start with 2020 This over here is 2023. The next one over is 2024, or 2020, 23, 22, 21, 20, and 19. So what she's referring to are your expense line items. You come down here in the bottom, you can see that there's a couple $1,000 bucks. It looks like you're leaving a couple $2,000 a year pretty much on there. And we were just,
Something we could lower.
yeah, if we can adjust something by $1,000 bucks, that'd be kinda cool. It doesn't have to be a one-line thing, but is that something that,
Dues and memberships we could knock down.
okay?
Oh, yeah, you're checking them off, I've got that.
Safety, apparel, I think I already lowered, but we could probably lower.
How about printed materials, Brian? Unless you think you're getting new books.
I have to, that I have to buy a complete set of code books, so that has to stay up there.
Okay,
That's probably gonna be a lot higher than that.
Travel, lodging, I mean, I
That's-
haven't done
that's
much of
okay.
that, so we can drop that down, so.
Okay,
We get
so,
close to 1,000.
so if we vote, if we go with $1,000 less on the budget, for instance, on that budget, would you feel comfortable and you can adjust your numbers accordingly? Would that be,
Yeah,
would that work?
that would work.
Well, we need something to take back to the select board.
You want me to buy three jobs, or?
Rather than go for an arbitrary figure, if we can get a little bit more,
I cut out about $700 worth.
Oh, yeah, go
Would
s-
that be all right?
Yeah,
Right.
that
I was
probably-
kinda looking at the prof and tech training, dropping that down, just cutting it in half, is that something I can do?
Which is the new one? This is
It'd be the first line item up there.
Professional
That's
ser-
the one I.
Yeah, professional training, 300. So you brought it down, use the 100.
I mean, what, you know, it's better if we could go back to the page that showed what I put in for this.
Oh, okay, hang on. We can bounce back to that bad, Larry.
Yeah, it's easier to try to figure out what we can knock down from that one.
So this one,
Yeah.
how's that?
Yeah, I mean, that safety apparel equipment, that $100 can probably go. $100 equipment can probably go. Office supplies could probably go, just 4.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Office supplies,
Yeah,
we could drop that down this year.
Drop it down, what do you want, drop it to
Membership,
100?
I need to kind of leave, because I need to,
Okay.
I need to leave that there, because to buy the code books, they're from the International Code Council, and we need to become a member of that to get a good discount on all the books.
Okay.
That one almost pays for itself, so.
Alright.
So we got equipment, safety equipment, travel, lodging, that one could probably be
There's
first.
200,
2,
400.
3, 4,
You think we-
6. And we could drop professional training down to 100, so there's 800.
That's fine, I think that's good,
Think
that's good,
we'd
cause
be
if
good
you,
with that?
yeah, cause in case you need something within, if you
I
have to
think we'd be-
override, we
Yeah, I
can.
don't foresee.
can shift out of one
anything that would
category.
really
can you just quickly go down, or between the two of you and,
Wanna
through
start
all
from-
these and
Start from the
I've got a question
professional.
first.
Go ahead,
training.
go.
Tech
Wait,
training
wait.
will drop down to 100,
to 100?
yeah. So there's 2. And
Okay,
then office supplies, we could just drop that to 0 for this coming, I don't think we're gonna need anything.
okay.
Travel, lodging, and meals, we could drop that down to 0,
To,
minus 200,
minus 200.
0.
Safety equipment apparel, we could go from 100 to 0.
That's the one I had a question on. Are you sure you're not gonna need?
Need
any-
I'm pretty good with.
so you had dropped
You
this.
sure?
I don't think it-
Are there any that could
200.
have an
Right,
overrun?
and it's
Like,
200, so it's
you know,
gonna
I
be
don't wanna
0.
take
Oh,
money
okay.
away if you
I-
can foresee using it.
No,
Like, I don't mind leaving money into each category,
Yeah.
Well,
just drop, that's all
Like,
I'm
For
just,
instance,
I mean, we
under-
could 0 if it, you know.
I hate zeroing
following
things out like
The
that.
next,
Yeah, that's
cycle, the permit program's gonna drop back down.
And then we'll
you know,
readjust
I don't
it
need
and-
the books, you know, we could readjust some of it then.
All right,
You know, if we're
add
trying to
in.
get it down for this coming budget.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We could just crunch it here.
All right, okay.
And then the equipment, we could drop that to 0, so
And what was happening to equipment?
we could
Zero.
put that at 0.
Okay.
Safety equipment or equipment overall?
Both.
Both.
Okay. You don't have to wear hard hats and things like that?
I don't have to buy a new one every year, so don't worry.
Well,
Good.
for $100 though.
Yeah,
For $100,
you
it's
should
not a
buy
big
yourself
deal.
a new one every year.
Leave it at leave one of the equipment line items
I
at
understood
$100 so you can
$100.
get,
If you wanna leave the safety
Hard
equipment.
hat.
All right, let's
Safety
leave
vest.
safety
Yeah.
at
Save
100.
that one,
We'll
then,
leave
so
that one
then
at
we're
100.
We'll let them buy the hard hat.
So then that's.
So even if we got it, what, 400 or 500?
yeah.
I know you were looking for 1,000, but
Yeah,
the only place you could cut a big chunk just
I
a
think we
little
got
bit would be
700
software,
on
but
it, right?
you don't
Yeah,
know where
that's
that's gonna
fine.
go.
I have a total of 8,600 now from 93, which is a savings of 700.
All right, what do you,
He
so
just took away this one though. Or this one's
we added
staying.
one back
Yeah,
in.
I know, that's,
Oh,
I
okay.
still have,
So what are you
You should
looking
be,
at
that
now?
should be a $700.
2, 4, 6, 7.
what should be at 700?
Yeah, it should
Sorry?
be
So we have
700.
0 repairs and maintenance,
Yeah,
100
yeah.
at prop, 0 at contract, 7,400 at software, 0 at office supplies, 700 at printed materials, 0 at travel lodge,
Yeah,
300 at dues,
Mhm.
100 at safety,
Yeah.
and 0 at equipment.
correct.
Yep.
Okay, that's what we got. All right. So whatever that adds up to.
Were we still doing equipment? Sorry.
Yeah, we did, we kept it in, we kept
Okay.
100 in safety, so we can either go to equipment or safety or whatever.
Okay.
We just keeping something in there.
Brian, are you gonna revise that and send it back?
If I need to,
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay, so.
I can send you a copy of
That
this if you
number's not
want,
correct.
what we changed.
I mean, I have, oh,
So I have-
I'll remember what it is.
Okay,
I'll do it tomorrow.
okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Okay. So. I'll entertain a motion to amend.
So moved.
Motion is made to amend.
He so moved it.
Yeah, how about it? Do we have a second?
Oh,
Second.
second, well, he's, well,
Motion's been made,
Sorry,
motion's
it's on
been
now.
made and seconded to amend the building department budget, number 240, in the amount of $700, or $44,258 in salaries and down to $8,600. God, I get my numbers. You know, I'm messing this up, and it really drives me crazy. For a total budget of $52,858.
52,858, yep.
Yeah. 258, all right. Is there any further discussion on the building department budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining, that is unanimous. Brian, thank you very much for your patience and
Thank you very
understanding.
much.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated for you taking the time to come in tonight.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
You too, thank
Well,
you.
So let's move on to. So
Thank you, Carol.
what else did we have?
You just got the town.
I was gonna just say, I just asked, I was like, I don't
I
think
think
so.
Well,
he
we've
can,
got,
he doesn't deal with them, but you deal with them.
The money
I
articles.
think you're done.
Oh, okay.
The what?
Let's, all right,
What do you want?
let's break away from what we, I wanted to get Brian on our way.
Oh, this is-
Yeah, let's not have Bud sit here for the entire meeting while waiting to talk to him. What's being handed out now,
We're not doing any budgets?
We
we're
are.
gonna go back to budgets in a
So we can
minute.
get him to go.
No, it's fine, no,
I got it.
need to.
I got it.
What goes, yeah, it's good.
What's being handed now, out now is
It's been a long day.
is an estimate or
I'll be back.
proposed kind of a planning sheet on,
I'm sorry.
for the capital expenditures that will be coming up at the annual town meeting in May. So, we're looking at our usual transfers at the top of $100,000 in general stabilization, $150,000 in capital stabilization, $150,000 in sewer stabilization, $200,000 to offset the tax rate. OPEB is $100,000, and the reserve fund is at, why is that at $66,000?
Oh, sorry,
That's not, yeah.
I need to amend that.
Isn't that at 60? Is
Yes,
that right?
yeah.
So it's 760.
So, I wish I could put this up on the screen for everyone to see, but it's actually a very comprehensive document that we use to try to make our decisions so we can pass it along to the townspeople and the taxpayers.
If I can make just one introductory note, this is based on a conservative estimate of free cash at 2.1 million. There's,
Spending all of that?
no, so down at the bottom. Oh, wait,
Yeah. That's a
oh,
little.
I have, you have a better one. Sorry. Let me. You have 221. Oh, yes, sorry, I have a 214 in front of me. You know, if we have more free cash or we want to spend more of it, there's always a possibility of adding to those stabilization funds. And,
The more you spend, the less you get back, you know that, right?
So
yes, well,
are we planning on, it looks like.
so that, and that is a question for the finance committee, is how much of the free cash to spend and how much to roll over, or to save for the coming year, and then potentially to roll over for the next year.
Okay. Let me just go, first off, up toward the top of the document, we have transfers, and they're from stabilization accounts. From capital stabilization, we're looking at an F-550 to replace a 2014 truck. The 2014 truck is presently costing a large amount to repair. We're trying to kind of save money on the repairs and have the equipment available to use. That's $163,000. And the transfer from sewer stabilization to cover the overage from the city of Pittsfield, I believe, the wastewater treatment. That's
Yes.
we're gonna remove that from some of that money from sewer stabilization. And then the new police cruiser would be from capital stabilization for a value of $66,000. Now, from free cash, we're looking at doing some work on buildings. A design and installation of heat pumps for the third floor, as well as the entire system. An estimated need for an alternative boiler, $65,000. So that's for a design and installation, or just a design?
For the lifts, just a design?
No, not the lift.
Oh,
For the
For the heat pump.
Heat
heat
pumps.
pumps and
Oh, the heat-
boiler and all of that.
oh, that's both, design and installation.
So the
That's
65
based
is-
on the work that we did at the garage earlier.
Okay. How's that working out over the garage for you?
Beautiful.
So this is the third floor offices?
Yes.
So how is it gonna prevent it from going into the space that isn't used?
It includes insulation. And it includes actually some electrical rewiring, because Before we put the insulation in, we have to change out the knob and tube wiring in the third floor offices.
There's still knob and tube up there,
Wow.
really?
That's cool.
I'm surprised when they removed the asbestos, they didn't take out the knob and tube at the same time. That's
Well, we only did limited asbestos removal on the offices.
Interesting. 'Cause that would fall under that whole hazard piece to that puzzle. Right, so, engineering or match for lifts for town hall. I guess we're gonna have the design and engineering only. That's a $30,000 cost.
Estimated.
That's-
Still working with the building superintendent on that.
Okay. Engineering for roof section reinforcement.
That right now, we did a study on the town hall roof for the feasibility of potential solar panels, and came back with a report that said that all of the roofs were overstressed. The main section to work on reinforcing is over the library, which was substantially more stressed than the other areas. So we need, the preliminary engineering just said, no, you can't put that much weight on the roof. What we need now is engineering to show how best to reinforce the roof.
Is this
Just
just
to
for,
simply fix it, just to simply fix it, not to put panels on or to reinforce it to put the panels on.
I'm all for overbuilding, but,
Well, I'm thinking more along the line of instead of, we've got how many thousand square feet over at the highway garage, and we have to put a roof on that thing.
mhm.
That's a whole lot of square footage and a really great solar exposure. If we're gonna do any design work, just fix town hall and put it over at the town garage.
Well, there's no reason we can't do both.
And I'm sure the Green Committee will enjoy that statement. They should anyway. So we should, yeah, all right. So, but that's all the engineering for that. Money for shredding, okay. Add energy generation for warming and cooling systems?
Yeah, that in a way is actually emergency management. This building is now the emergency operations center, the primary emergency operations center for the town. And all the systems work fine for it being a senior center, but we would need extra generating capacity for it to be an actual emergency operations center with the potential for heating and cooling. And we don't have sufficient capacity for that right now.
The next thing is sidewalks, final design and construction for Orchard Street sidewalks for $100,000. Transfer station renovation design is a quote for $68,000 for design. Replace the last two old garage doors.
Yeah, I had that as a capital request.
Are those the overhead doors or the?
Yeah, the last two big overhead doors.
Okay.
Yep. The old ones that are not good.
Skate park design and engineering, $25,000.
Still under discussion, that is a priority, one of the priorities that's been floated in the select board meeting.
I put it in for this year.
Rather than being under,
I just didn't plan.
I mean, the town would have to do that, that's not something the CRA is gonna
Failed.
do.
I had to get it fixed.
Uh,
But the other two were-
So that's
I'm putting in for a
something to be considered. I'm working on that with one of the select board members. It's also not a final figure, but it is based on figures for, I looked at 4 different skate parks in the area, and some of them are smaller, some of them are larger. This would be a smaller skate park. We don't have a location yet.
Many years ago, Dennis Geyer and I.
Though,
worked on that.
as people have suggested the land over there,
Mhm.
just beyond the senior center on that side.
When Dennis Geyer was representative of this area, Dennis Geyer and I had worked on plans, trying to get something going. We couldn't get people on board. This was one of the spots, and Green Ridge Park was the other one. We didn't go to Chamberlain Park, and part of the reason why we didn't do that was because of it being kind of a remote, hidden place, and we were afraid of vandalism to it. That was kind of our concern. And we looked at modular and we looked at concrete.
Well, we've had plenty of vandalism at Pine Grove Park, which is not remote.
Or not, I'm
so-
sorry, not Pine Grove, Green Ridge Park. I'm
No, you
sorry.
said Green
Did I
Ridge.
say Green Ridge?
Yeah, but you were saying, Chamberlain was remote, and
Yeah, Chamberlain is remote.
there might be vandalism, but we've had plenty
Well,
of
we get plenty
vandalism
of
at
vandalism everywhere.
Pine
That's
Grove, so.
Municipality vandalism. But at any rate, that was kind of where that went. Now, Pine Grove Park, repair and rehabilitation, we're looking at security cameras, lights, and motion sensors.
And repair of structures.
Yeah.
I should have written that down.
Is that area covered by the loop, the fiber optic loop that we put around?
Why, yes, it is, and we actually thought ahead and have the ability to connect directly and easily with that ring.
And already have a camera.
We do.
Excellent, excellent. So that fiber optic loop is working well? While
Oh,
we're on
yeah.
the subject?
In fact, it was tested very shortly after coming in, because a tree fell on the line and broke it, but no one lost communication because traffic went one way along the ring to the tree break, and it went the other way along, so that the garage still had service and the senior center still had service. So
Excellent.
it actually fulfilled its intended function pretty quickly.
Well, that was a pretty good investment, I guess, and that
And-
was actually
and it
invested
was,
in the same manner that we're doing all the things that we're presently doing.
And it was $60,000 of a grant and about 11,000 of town money in the end. We had an amendment
Right.
that we had to add due to a delay, and then there was a town match.
Well, we got an estimate for $19,000 for recycling containers over at the transfer station. Line and paint the basketball court at Pine Grove Park. Swap shop shed, it's gonna be a pre-built shed for $10,000. Leaf blower for the cemetery, about $7,000. Historic commission, painting of the Who's House for $4,000. Town manager repay Crane for deposit of Barton property.
That was because the deposit came in last year and closed out to free cash, so it has to be voted out of free cash to be paid back.
Okay. New computer hardware.
Yeah, we have to gear up for Windows 11. A number of our computers are not capable of doing that, and there may be other upgrades as well. And so this is half of the expense of upgrading those. There was some, it was a note from the select board that we should be able to cut our hardware, our IT hardware ask, because we're also asking for computers here. And I think we have to finalize that discussion in those numbers.
Are we looking at a plan of changing out our hardware on a scheduled basis?
We are definitely looking at a plan for that.
Thank you. Well, there's
We're-
60, we'll say for round numbers, there's 50 computers in the entire operation. And it's generally, they have a 5-year lifespan, so we should have a plan for 10 computers a year should be getting changed out roughly.
You'll be glad to know that I've been working with our IT consultant on a complete inventory of our hardware and a replacement schedule.
Excellent. Thank
It's
you.
not yet ready for prime time.
Okay, that's good. Let's see, grant application for Walker Brook. Let's see,
Yes, I tried to get people to do it for free, but that didn't work. It was a really bold attempt. It took a number of major engineering firms completely by surprise when I asked them to do a lot of work for us on spec, more or less. They, the deal is that these grant proposals, this is a grant proposal for FEMA, and they're very complex. They involve benefit cost analyses and a lot of number crunching that we're just not able to do. So typically engineering firms are engaged to develop and submit the grant proposal. Once the grant proposal is funded, the work that they put into it can be taken from the grant. It's one of the only cases where pre-grant expenses can be funded by a grant. But they can be. So I inquired as to, well, how much would it take you to actually submit, to do the work, to submit a grant proposal for us, and they said $20,000. So I put that in, and I'll put it out to bid again with that figure. And hope that we get somebody willing to submit the grant for us. I believe the firm that did the preliminary engineering would be interested at least in bidding on that, and there might be others as well.
fund to assist residents close the gap between CDBG, rehabilitation and actual need. That was alphabet soup.
There's that one, and the one two down from it, Fund for Cleaning Up Condemned Houses. They're kind of similar. I'll be bringing a proposal to the select board. Actually, I brought it to them on Monday. And we're still sort of working out the details, but they're generally in favor of at least setting up a fund. My own proposal also involves adding a staff person, which I promised this very committee last year I would not do this year. So I'm not bringing that forward this year, but the position would be a social worker. And there could also be a kind of a reorganization of departments into a broader health and human services department that person would work under. But we would need somebody to administer this program. And there are also other ways that that position could work in the town, including with the police department on mental health calls. So I don't think there's any lack of work for somebody like that to do. Our health agent has been working very hard on a number of housing issues, many of them involving hoarding. And that's a complex situation that really goes beyond the health agent's expertise and certainly time to deal with. But it's something that the select board was concerned that we try to assist our residents as much as possible, especially seniors, to be able to stay in their homes. And again, these are usually very complex situations. But the way that I think they're actually thinking more of the second one, the Fund for Cleaning Up Condemned Houses. The first one is very specific. Dalton works with the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission on the Federal Community Development Block Grant Program, which provides money for housing rehabilitation. However, they won't rehabilitate a house. This is for low to moderate income people who need help to do various things to their house, putting a new roof on, that sort of thing. However, they will not fund a resident, for example, who has a house with lead paint. So the house has to be de-leaded before they can do the work. That's often a barrier to people who need work done because it's an older house and it has lead paint. They otherwise qualify for the program, but they don't. But they don't have the money to de-lead it any more than they have to put into rehabilitation. So that is another aspect of a program that we could be funding in order to get the most out of our community development block grant funds. That said, there's a waiting list for CDBG money in Dalton. We'll be entering into a subsequent agreement where another town will take the lead,
Thank God.
and this will just be a two-town grant, but we will still have housing rehabilitation funds available, and it might be useful to have some money to spend locally in order to assist people who otherwise would qualify, but who probably are the ones who need the assistance the most. So that's what that is intended to do, but the immediate intent of the select board is to help with the unexpectedly large number of cases we have dealing with hoarding and people whose houses might be condemned for various reasons and might just need assistance in cleaning up. So that's what they're thinking about, and that's why those things are there.
The next, of course, is the drainage easement for LP Adams. It's just to finish that up.
Yes, when Housatonic Street was being redone, it became apparent that the easiest course for installing a certain drainage line would be to go through LP Adams's land instead of basically right into a bunch of gas works, which had been installed since, recently. And that was done with a promise to purchase an easement from LP Adams. That was never followed up on by the town. And I'm in the process of having a plan done and an appraiser, getting a quote from an appraiser for a figure to put to town meeting.
Brownfields Phase 2 study of Main Street gas station. Which gas station would that be?
At this point, I'd actually rather not say now because we haven't
Okay.
approached the owner.
Okay. And then we've got the level 2 electric car charging stations. $37,000. That's kind of a nugget for that.
Oh, yeah.
That's for 4 spots, one of which would be handicapped, thinking about putting them on the far corner of the senior center. And the one that is here currently would be removed, but the infrastructure for it, it's all, well, half of it doesn't work, and it's not placed well for handicap access.
And of course, the Open Space Committee, they want to remove some invasive species like the pines.
That's the amount of a grant that they would apply for that would be reimbursed at, I think, 60%. But we have to have the money appropriated before we can get the grant.
Why this location? That's the pines.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, so this invasive species is at the pines,
Oh, yes.
and why is this particular location bad?
The Open Space Committee has been focusing on the Pines as a recreational asset for the town. They'll be putting in an accessible trail with the help of local nonprofit Greenagers, and they would like to have it as well maintained as possible.
so it's, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. This, for all those that don't know, it used to be nicknamed Heavy Land. It's right up there.
Used to be?
Well, it may still be called that for all I know. So, all right, so that's pretty much what we're looking at to do for capital expenditures this year. Hopefully we'll be able to bring this kind of an itemized list to the taxpayers so they can see what's the money's being spent on.
Can I ask another quick question?
Yep.
The shredding, is that a one-time, expense, or what's going
Yeah,
on with
yeah.
that?
This is a accumulation of dozens of boxes of material that are ready to, they're past the schedule date of destruction.
Why wouldn't that be part of an everyday, part of
Right,
office stuff?
budgeting.
Once a month,
Is that
a
something
budget?
is that something that should be placed in the budget?
Budget?
Start doing a more I'll tell you,
I
you
agree.
go down in the basement of the town hall, there's a lot of stuff down there. And some of it, I just happened to notice the one time I was down there, it looked like it was rather outdated, so do we have a plan to kind of, have a yearly shredding party kind of thing in the budget?
Could be. This is in conjunction with something that Bud is organizing, where there is a company that comes around and does shredding for whoever wants to. However, we have a sufficient amount that we're gonna need a substantial contribution to doing it.
Oh, okay, so it's like this is the initial attack and then after that we'll.
Yeah, we
That's
have,
what it kinda sounds like.
yeah, we generate a certain number of boxes per year because some, for instance, financial records have to be kept for 7 years. Then after that, all of those records get retired. So there's a fair amount of work to be done. And right
What?
now, we're just catching up on,
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
So Bud gets to be the bad guy. Lucky you. All right, let's get back on track here. Hopefully we can get these, the remaining budgets that we have done. We have, we're gonna be looking at town planner, police department, communications. We've already done the building department, animal control, and emergency management. So, thank you very much, Bud, thank you very much for being
Thanks,
here
man.
to
Let me know
answer
when a
any
good time
questions.
is, and I can
Appreciate it.
we'll just-
You already
we'll
did
just
animal control and
move you
emergency
around. If
management.
you want,
Yeah.
if you
No,
want.
I'm fine
Yeah,
with it.
already?
Easy better.
You know,
No.
okay.
No, earlier.
No, no.
Get it
We haven't done anything other than building department.
All right,
We just-
okay.
That's all we've
That's
done.
it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought you said you'd already done those.
No, no, no.
All right,
we had-
thank you
Okay.
very
we're
much.
gonna- We have
All right.
already done, building department. So we're gonna, so let's press on. We'll start with, we might just well start with town planner, 175, and
That was also tabled one, looks like.
Mhm.
Was that tabled, that was tabled?
where are we?
Is it the town planner?
Oh,
It's 2A.
And just to
Tentatively approved.
cover one item that will be in,
Thank you.
that has been in other budgets, and
That was, yeah.
so just to cover one thing that has been in other budgets and will be going forward. If you look at the pay rate has gone up, is proposed to go up, these are proposed budgets, of course, by the step, 1.75 step increase, and then on top of that, a 2% cost of living increase. That, of course, that's not a definite thing, but that is the assumption that's built in there. One thing about that is that when the 2% is added to a figure that's already been multiplied by 1.75%, the total comes out to a little bit more than 3.75%. It comes out to it comes out to 3.785%, because the 2% is being added to something a little bit larger by 1.75% than it started. So the pay rate has gone up by that amount. The reason that the requested budget goes up more than that is because there are now either 52.2 or 52.25 weeks in the year. So last year there was less than that, I think. Sandy can be a little more precise if you want, but that's why the percentage change in the salaries is going up as much as it is. It's because the number of days that are being worked in the year is increased. So there's an extra day per year that people are working.
We haven't had this for a few years. It's been 52 weeks, like 3 years, I think.
Oh, that's kinda cool.
And I think it has to do with a
Well,
workday.
Leap year.
We got leap year for sure, but you know, the way the work weeks, like at the end of the year and the beginning of the year, the work week is
Okay. If you motion.
more days.
Motion the budget. Go ahead.
Which one are we on?
I move town planner.
I thought you, did you click on that? I was waiting for you to click on it. I don't like that.
Wait for me to bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, a little,
I can't even read that.
there.
So I move to approve the town planner budget, department number 175, in the amount of total salaries. You scroll back up. 58,500 and, is that a 6 or a 5?
Six-
I'm
650.
sorry, I apologize, let me
And the
correct that.
five?
$58,650 for a total budget amount of $64,375.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded for the town planner, Department 175, with salaries of $58,650 in salaries and then expenses for $5,725 for a total budget of $64,375. Well, we've got ourselves a substantial expense increase.
Yeah, it was the mapping. He's got a new, he wrote a
A lot
letter
of software.
to software.
Yeah, it's another software case. Our last town planner was able to use the same software through his old alma mater, and the new town planner isn't. And it's best if we import this data anyway. This will allow him to do a lot more work regarding planning and zoning and helping out various departments in various ways. We're going to build on the assessor's program, which is it's the same company as this, and we will be able to create very, I believe, very useful visual demonstrations and maps, really, of any number of things that people are interested in. This could involve the Historic Commission. When I was in Conway, they did the ages of the houses. The Board of Health did locations of septic systems near water bodies. We had a confidential layer for the police with vulnerable citizens. It's not just for the planning department, in other words, but we also need to upgrade our zoning maps. BRPC did a basic job, but we need a little more detail in some of the maps that we have now, and we need to upgrade things as well.
So, judging by what I'm seeing, it looks like it's $3,000 a year for the software. Is that, am I reading that correctly, or is that a $3,000, we purchase it and then we have to do maintenance?
It reads like it's a 1 year.
It reads like a 1-year
It
subscription.
is a subscription.
Wow, it's seriously expensive.
The memo explaining
So
what I-
We
So
have
what is it
police.
year after year after
What I-
that? So you're getting the initial subscription, there must be something for,
I don't think they have the menu.
Every year, it must be like a little update or something, which must have to subscribe to,
I
right?
think go after their travel.
What do you
budget.
think? Well, he has per year, priced at $302 per year subscription.
Right.
So, is it each year then? Per
Yeah.
year?
Every year, that's.
Every year.
Grand per year. Whole piece of software.
Yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
They
it
are,
says-
they are expensive.
Well, software is expensive. Yeah, it's good.
But an annual subscription.
I know,
Yes. right.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a good model for whoever's running this software.
Well, yeah, I hope,
Yeah.
I hope that thing does it come to the town and like, you know,
That must be
run
really.
around the town in a little car around us?
believe it or not, it's probably all hooked up and then you just subscribe to it and they download it right into the thing. Bet
Maybe
you
it's
$10
the
for
price
that.
of the satellite.
That could
Oh,
be
cut
That's
it
what it would
out.
cost to put the satellite up there, wouldn't it?
3,000.
Let me tell you,
Yeah,
some of
it's
the
a beast,
construction
Mike, right?
software isn't cheap either.
Alright, so.
This is the standard piece of software that planning departments use for their work.
Yeah, so
ArcGIS.
we had 300+ towns in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
That's
At
cash cow.
$3,000 a pop.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Dang,
gold.
somebody's cashing out, huh?
Yeah, that's amazing business.
That's like
model.
getting the lottery, baby.
Do you,
Yeah.
do you think we can,
Whoa.
do you think after
And
looking
we're
at,
paying it, that's the
Yeah,
crazy part.
every
about it.
town is, there's
Yeah,
gonna
every
put
town's
it in their
paying it, every
budget.
taxpayer paying it, oh my
Yeah.
God.
sure we can't like go
God.
to their place
Holy
and kind of
cow.
just use their stuff?
Well, yeah.
Download it to ours, sharing the expense?
I bet you need a license. Each
It's
user.
exactly, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So were we just lucky last year that they had access to this particular software for free?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Basically, like that's,
he got it through his alma mater.
That's so
He had a
interesting.
student account that he kept.
That's crazy.
wow, that was a
And they allowed him
valuable,
to do that.
That's so fun.
I'm not sure they were supposed to allow
Right,
him
no,
to
it's,
do it, but they
that's
did.
great.
All right.
Can we cut down some expenses that haven't been utilized? Any thoughts there?
Well,
I don't
it's
know.
only been like last year
I don't know how much training he's gonna need or.
and
With the
year
new
before.
software, they shouldn't need any training. Should do it
That's
for you.
what I was just thinking.
Just kidding.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was
Well,
thinking-
there's other training. There's an excellent group, the Citizens Planner Training Collaborative, and he's taking advantage of some of their offerings. They're not expensive, but he's doing a lot of the workshops, so that's good.
Is he now using some of his lodging meals, that kind of stuff, budget? Is that
He
hasn't been used in?
He may not
forever?
in this fiscal year. Next fiscal year, he's definitely planning on going to the annual Massachusetts Planners Conference.
I mean, it's sometimes
And that
it's
would,
worth-
that will eat up probably more than that.
taking $100 out of a $100 line item earlier in the meeting, and I don't know, just, I think we have to be more.
That's pretty much one conference there.
What, $700 for one conference? Is that what you're?
Well, yeah, he'll probably stay overnight.
Yeah, well, sure, it would be, because it'd be a multi-day conference, more than likely, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dues and
Yeah,
memberships.
cut that some.
That's American Planning Association and the Massachusetts chapter of the American Planning Association.
Yeah, up until,
Looks like it's
up
been
until
$176.
up until 22, it wasn't used. And then, now it's being used, of course, which is not
So
bad.
let it run the course for a year and see what happens.
Let it run another year, and then maybe we can chop a couple $100 out of that.
Look at them.
See what happens.
That was funny.
200 here, 200
Yeah.
there, before you know it, you got 2,000. We're hoping. All right. Do we want to amend, or we're good? All right, seeing or hearing no further discussion, let me just bounce back to this. Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of the town planner, Department 175, signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
Alright. All those opposed? All those abstaining, that is unanimous. Alright, next. Let's go, do we wanna tackle the police budget, everyone? It's the next one in line.
Deputy.
Please. Your eyes will glaze over, everyone. I have it actually.
And I apologize that we didn't get the notice out till very, very late, letting people know that the finance committee would be discussing their budgets. But I am, there's one thing here that you may have heard about that I will speak to now. Just have to find it.
Well, we can do, should we simply postpone the police department budget till next time? We're doing well with our budgets, time-wise, so we will have another meeting on the 13th.
Yeah, I will, you'll probably have a lot then.
Well, there is a lot on the 13th.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have a ton on the 13th to do.
There could be a ton. I will simply note that the total budget is under 3%. So it looks as though the
2.9.
the ramping up for post-compliance is pretty much done.
You're saying the change is less than 3%?
Yeah, for the total budget, it's 2.96%. There is one item that I will mention as well, which is there is an incentive, not a position, as I believe was reported in a local news outlet, but there is an incentive for detective work.
Did you say you were looking for it, where it is?
Okay.
There it is. It would be considered a special assignment, and there is an 8%, there it is, sorry. Under patrolman, at the very bottom, there's an 8%
The new one?
figure budgeted. So first page, halfway down.
Yep.
There's a proposal for $4,635 to pay for detective work. That was taken from the reserve account, the reserve officer budget, so that it didn't go up. And that involves, this is investigatory work that goes, well, if we're tabling it, I will let her explain it.
Well, let me
but that's
ask,
the-
is there a
the idea
general
is it's a-
consensus for us to review this budget? It sounds to me, we have roughly 2 more meetings to complete our deliberations. Let me dig it up here. We have, of course, our next meeting, which will be March 13th. And we will have likely engineering, highway, tree warden, snow, no, am I in, oh, I'm on the wrong one, I'm sorry. I don't have that.
Right here?
My full list.
Right here?
Oh, there it is.
Town clerk.
All right, we're gonna have town clerk, elections, telephone, information technology, building maintenance, town hall, assessor, reevaluation. Are we gonna have on the 13th, is CBRSD coming to see us on the 13th? Or are they coming to see us on the 20th? I was left with the impression they were coming to see us on the 20th.
I have not had any contact with them,
Okay.
but I
either-
do know that their budget isn't coming out until the 14th.
Okay, so then we wouldn't be seeing them, so we have room, we have time within the March 13th meeting to take this up if we wanna, if the police chief would like to come and speak to us about this, I think we have time within that. Would we like to do that, or would we,
I won't be here, so sure.
You could also meet on the 6th. That's another possibility, March 6th.
yeah, that's just cramming another meeting and
Well,
we're
there-
trying to keep the meetings to a minimum.
What is it? Is it
there-
just because we just wanna hear about this position, the specialty?
It's,
I'm just
Or
kinda
is
setting
it-
down the feeler, if the
I mean,
Finance Committee feels comfortable with taking a look at this and discussing it tonight, I'll entertain a motion. If we,
Actually, we just look at it tonight and get it done.
let's take a look at it.
I don't, it
Yeah,
doesn't
I
seem.
agree.
it's only
It
3%,
doesn't seem-
so.
Last year, we were
I'll
kind of
entertain-
thrown.
I'll entertain a motion, and if more questions come up, we can table it.
all right,
How's
sounds
that
good.
sound? All right, I'll entertain a motion for the police budget.
Am I making the motion on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, a motion for the police department.
Motion to approve the police department budget, department number 210. Let's see where the salaries
30
total.
page down.
Yeah, way back, keep going. She's got it right there, she's got total salary.
Got you here, yep, for a total salaries amount of $1,349,148. For a total budget of $1,540,255.
Did we read the expenses?
Not yet.
Do you want me to read the expenses?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Alright,
gotta,
yep.
yeah.
Total expenses, for this upcoming year, $191,108,000, sorry.
So true.
Second.
That's fine.
Sloppy.
Motion's been made and seconded for the police department budget, or the police department, 210, the amount of $1,349,148 in salaries and $191,108 in expenses, for a total budget of $1,540,255, a 2.96% increase. Okay, so let us take a moment and dissect this thing. Now, in the case, well, let's put this.
I did do a quick
This
summary page, Bill, on all of this. I'm just off $4 from what she's, from numbers. So if it's easier for some nation on each category.
I'll notice, oh,
It's
sorry.
easier.
It's because the budget isn't summarized by account,
Correct,
so it's not
so
easy to see.
It's not easy
It's,
to.
yeah, you have to kind of pick through the minutia that's surrounding on
Yes, that's it.
on these Excel spreadsheets.
Over the
It's
goals.
pretty granular. The information is quite granular on these sheets. And
Hey, Karen.
Mm.
I've seen
I-
these
I
things
can
for
make
years,
a,
and they seem to, yeah, I've read.
Oh, you're welcome.
You got it.
I know I was struggling.
It-
At a glance is nice.
Yeah, at a glance it is nice.
I can make just a quick comment on the expenses, which
Yeah.
go up, percentage-wise a lot more. And that is that the vast majority of that is for software and cell service.
And just to let you know, the gold-plated software comment was the same comment I made for years. It's just, it's insane the cost.
It's
Well,
such a good
see,
idea.
the
Should've
thing
gone
is-
into software,
I
right?
know, it's
Such
such
a
a,
good
well,
idea.
exactly.
Blame it on Mitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the only other thing that I've seen, and this is the second police department I've been involved with, is we have people coming in from CJIS, which is the Criminal Justice Information System. And Massachusetts is adopting the requirements from the FBI. So the requirements for any of the computers that access the CJIS system are going to need to be in compliance, and we're going over and doing that audit tomorrow. So I don't know if that's.
Is the FBI gonna pick up a tab on some of this stuff, or what? Probably not.
They're
Is that
saying,
included
they're
in
saying
these?
we have all the criminal records, and if you wanna have access to them, do these things.
Oh, that sounds like extortion. And yes, I'm on the camera with that. That does, it sounds like extortion by the FBI, legalized extortion.
That's my understanding of what's going on, cause they don't want small departments to have, cause it would be an easier target, a smaller department that doesn't have the money to put into IT infrastructure for them to backdoor into the criminal justice system.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
And that's what they're going through and trying to close the loop on now.
Drinking the right crap. I've come to this.
It's a genius, it's a genius, actually.
Well, yeah,
You-
there it is, like I said.
They can go to every little town.
Extortion, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But
We just
okay,
like-
so that's what's driving our software increases?
No.
Yeah, well, 5,000 of it, 5,000 of it is
But
in
it's gonna-
the accreditation
It's gonna
software.
drive the maintenance.
It's gonna drive maintenance, yeah, they want a lot of logging, they want a lot of password changes, they have a list of requirements that are just out of the gate. Even getting on the computer, as soon as you reboot the computer, they want a splash screen that says this is a town computer used for town business and only do town police.
Also, I'm not gonna get on it with this thing,
It might pop up. I don't know how far it has to go, but I'm very glad that when we did the fiber project, we kind of built a lot of that,
Infrastructure.
well, network segmentation.
Yeah.
So the police have their own network, the town hall has its own network,
Oh,
The
smart.
finance committee has its own network, it does its own thing, it's
well,
a thing.
and that's some of the stuff that's kind of coming up is to,
Okay,
you know, we've been,
okay, so
So how much more
So
do you
our
think this is
already
gonna go up into the
rather
police
sizable
department?
no idea,
Amount.
no
our
idea.
already
You know,
rather
looking at-
sizable $1.5 million budget's gonna go to.
I got a DocuSign
What?
phishing recently.
I've gotten several DocuSign phishings. I've gotten a number of come look at your bill we sent you. We're gonna do a wire transfer. I've got a lot lately.
I've gotten a bunch of those. Those are
A lot of garbage lately.
See it. Over one of those stupid little things, you look at it and say, nah, you're
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah. And that's some of the stuff they wanna build in is the training, you have to inform all of the people that access the computer system or email system on the network as to look out for these things. And they want the end users to be trained, so they're just not clicking on things that come in.
That would be a meeting.
I've been, because I teach at Massasoit College, you ought to see the stuff they've had us going through, they're just telling us all the stuff that I heard. Don't click on anything, it's pretty much common sense, but not a lot of it.
Yeah,
You should- They're pretty good, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I am communicating with another gentleman in town that he's gonna retire from his, I think he's gonna retire from his full-time, stuff. He does stuff for like Bank of America and Credit Suisse and all these places that have serious, compliance concerns. He's in town, he works remotely, he's retiring in October, and I'm gonna talk to him about setting up a routine training, so, cause he's a very good IT trainer, very patient, so.
Okay.
Just
Good news is we have rather young officers, so we don't have to be
Right.
too,
Mm.
we have a very young police force, so they're all familiar with that stuff. That's a good thing, right?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
mentioned it before, but it might have gotten lost in the hubbub. $5,000 is for accreditation software. This was something that was talked about last year, that moving towards, well, certification, accreditation. It's a management system for policies and for compliance with post requirements. And that was something that was agreed to, because it would take a substantial chunk out of anyone's time to actually do that on a weekly basis, which is why the program was approved in the first place. So that's 5,000 of this, which is considerably more than that ARC Pro for the town planner I'll just mention. So that's going to be built into this budget now going forward as a regular expense. But this is an increase.
Gotta figure out a way to sell software to towns.
Yeah. Town's all going to be software.
Yes, that'd be great. What a wonderful business.
So long as I can be Max
And
Headroom.
as I was reading through this budget, I was worried about
That's
in looking at the
$8,000.
history, or because we keep relatively new cruisers, I was worried about
Replacement
$5,000
accreditation
in
software.
maintenance in the cruiser.
Yeah, I had that going up 5
If you look at
See,
that, I was,
Oh, the forensic
if
software,
you look at the
Yeah, so
history.
we
which
were-
they already have,
we were-
and the police,
You
that's
could
the
buy
one right
almost
there.
3
Yeah, yeah.
cruisers for the
No.
price of a
Right,
that one,
yeah.
$550, whatever that truck cost.
Yeah.
That was $170,000.
Yeah, $170,000, yeah, that's right, yeah. But the
Cruisers
good
are
news about the
60,000.
truck is generally we get 10 or so years out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cruisers were barely getting a year out of it.
Really?
About two to 3 years out
2 or
of
3
it,
years.
maybe
yeah.
5.
'Cause they
Yeah,
run
we got 3
constantly.
dead,
That
we got
number's
3
Right,
sticks.
yeah, someone
Yeah.
else gets in it when someone else gets in
Yeah,
it.
They just-
well, we got 3 dead soldiers sitting over in the parking lot at the
Now, what are we
town
doing with
hall,
those
so-
3 dead
Yeah,
soldiers?
so, yeah, 3 of them sitting.
What are we
there.
doing with them? Are they gonna trade those in for the new one?
What's
Yeah,
going
they-
on with the 3
Taking
dead
all
soldiers?
3?
They get traded in.
So what do we just have, a parking lot full of traded in cars, so?
Cars.
They could start a
just keep-
We
dealer.
have a parking lot full of, we're gonna trade in cars.
Okay.
We should open up a lot. We should just put for sale.
Well, it takes up parking spaces for some of the
Yeah, I'm
town
just thinking more,
employees.
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Can we
Tom, I'm
park
just
them
thinking
over at the
parking
town?
places, Town garage.
Yeah,
Garage?
well, we're,
If they're just sitting there,
Yeah.
they're
the
in a locked
garage-
gate.
It's just more of an observation than it was,
No, I'm just thinking of town employees looking for
yeah.
space.
Well, yeah, place to park and that, because parking there is pretty kind of at a premium,
Just a thought.
but. So anyways, I was looking at the cruiser maintenance. I was looking at the cruiser maintenance thing, I was gonna say, well, why don't we? Cause I had cruiser maintenance, last time we went up close to even $20,000 back in 19. That was 16,000. It's because we're using newer cruisers. Is that a place where we could probably take a few bucks out? It's, at this point, looking at these software increases, it almost seems like a moot point.
5,200.
Yeah, but you know what? So we got 5 on at one end and take out 5 on another,
Yeah, I
kinda just
suppose, yeah.
zeros,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
That's how I look at it.
yeah, 5,000 less, we gotta.
you know,
5,000 less we have to fork up.
let me see where we are.
I just don't know where the maintenance is lying with, because we haven't used that much of it.
Here's the maintenance line right here,
Yeah.
12, 11,
We
13,
got it at 25.
16, 10.
We'll just keep it at 20.
But, yeah. I just see, that was, to be honest with you, that just happened to be one that jumped out at us. That's all
Yeah.
that was.
What's the,
Wasn't like it was
Cruiser maintenance.
something.
It is
Yeah.
25,
They just happened to
5243.
jump out. Jesus, 25,000.
Oh, okay.
We're only using somewhere around 15. Somewhere in the general vicinity.
well, we've,
And that's only because
That's
we've
the
got
balance.
newer.
yeah.
been
So here's
here.
your today,
I can jump
Yeah.
unexpectedly though, I can imagine.
That's what we have reserve fund for.
Yeah.
Something
This is the
goes
balance.
south.
Something goes
Yeah,
sour.
that is
Something
true.
goes really sideways, then
Get
of
in
course
an
accident.
accident or something,
Yeah.
fix something.
Yeah, we're at about, we're a little under a third of expenses. And we're more than halfway through the year.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're
I
we're
always just
right
take
on
that number
target.
and double it, so you're, what's the number, what's the total number?
The account number,
No, the total on
the total on the expenditure report?
the, no, on that, on the
I didn't
maintenance.
bring that as a total.
I just double it, if it's not, where the heck is it?
Double what?
You gotta find it. All right, so equipment repair and maintenance, right? No, here it is.
Cruiser maintenance.
Cruiser maintenance. So right now you're at 7,000, so 7 is 14. You got 25. You're not even close to 20. It'll leave you 3,000 in there. You're not, and you're a little bit halfway through.
Mhm.
So, well,
I'll entertain a motion.
so should we make a motion to lower it to 20,000?
Motion to amend.
People, do you have any thoughts? Done?
And then that'll go back to the select board, correct?
Yeah.
Motion to amend.
So from what to what?
We're just gonna take it from 25 to 20.
But they
All right,
temporarily.
so how do you, all right, Bill, here we go. How do you do
Come
this?
back if these guys change it?
This is what Bill
Never
comes
have
in.
before.
What's that?
I make a
I'm sorry?
motion,
I move to amend.
so I move
You
to,
move, you will move to
Ask. I think it's
amend
best
the,
if it's-
What is it, the
to twen-
expen-
to-
expenses, do
oh,
we,
yeah,
or is it just one line
At least
item?
Through 10.
There's public notification at the
Expenses
select board.
from 191, 1802, and then $5,000 letter plus.
All right, so I got it,
That's the motion to amend, so we have to vote on the motion to amend.
so we just,
I'm lost now.
I gotta find it, I gotta find the cheat sheet. So I make a motion to amend
Yeah.
line item
Well,
210, 5243.
No, just the overall, that's the one we're focusing on, is 186108. Okay.
You're gonna have to amend the line item, for
Yeah.
sure, but, I mean, he just wants the total right now.
So you want me to decrease the total?
The finance people will handle the line item.
So
Oh, I get
we're
what you're saying.
decreasing the expense item down
Total
to
expense,
5,000.
correct.
We're
yeah.
focusing on the expense line, on the expense line of the motion. So, you wanna amend?
So I want to amend
Get it.
210,
Yeah.
right?
Do I wanna-
Total expenses, correct?
I wanna amend the motion,
Want to amend the motion
to reduce the expense
to reduce the
Expenses.
expenses
from
From
191,
108
108 to 186,
186,
108.
108,
A $5,000 reduction.
$5,000 reduction.
A second.
Motion been made and seconded to reduce Department 210 in the amount of, a motion made and seconded to amend the motion of $191,108 down to the amount of 186,108. The reduction is in line item
Do you want to
2105,248.
look at this?
243.
Yeah.
Oh, 243, I'm
I should
sorry.
have
Did you
my
get
own.
that?
2105,243.
Correct, cruiser
Cruiser
maintenance.
So,
So basically
Yeah.
it's 25 down to 20.
The motion's been made and seconded to amend the budget.
discussion.
Is there any discussion on the motion to amend?
I-
Okay.
I just want to bring up that under her notes, and I'm sorry, yeah,
This is cruiser maintenance.
so the, well, she's saying in her notes that the 19 budget was overspent by 6,200, the 20 budget was overspent by 6,400, the 21 budget was over by 8,400.
Which budget was over by that?
This is on her description,
Right. 2019.
under that line item, and I'm not sure that those figures,
Well, according to this, it was $16,356 was spent
According to
in-
what?
in 2020, $16,300 was spent. That was an overage of $4,800.
So that means
Then-
the budget was only
The budget was
12 or
11.
11
Or in the
11,
11s.
12,000
okay.
back then.
back
Back
then,
then.
Yeah, it
yeah.
looks like it was like the same amount the next year.
And
they
the
went
next
over.
year did the same thing, only we had raised, it was only, the total budget was 13,000 and it overran by $1,500.
Doesn't look
Yeah.
like we're getting anywhere
And
close to
then-
20,000.
And then in 22,
Yeah.
it was,
In
Under
22,
budget
it was
by
under
36.
By 36.
and in 23, this is when it was
So that's
25.
funded at 15,000 in
Correct,
22.
Right.
yeah. And the
And
same
then-
thing with this is funded at 25.
It was
That's a
funded
huge-
at 25.
And
we were
then-
Yeah.
$12,000.
It's a spicy jump.
Yeah, so that might have been too much of an that might have been an overcorrection in that account.
I
So-
would agree.
Yeah,
So-
that's
so
all
that-
it is.
yeah.
It's not,
So
it's
that's
not that,
something.
I would
it's not
agree.
that we don't wanna take care of the maintenance, it's just, it's
We have
an
all new
estimated
cars.
guess, and the estimate.
Well, that's the thing,
yeah,
we have
they're
all
all
new
new
cars.
cars.
We have all
So
new
how
cars.
much more are we gonna?
Back
Buying a
in,
new
I
one.
Unless we're getting
believe
really
back in
expensive tires on
19,
each of these
It
vehicles.
must be.
I believe
Okay.
back in 19,
You got it?
we skipped a
Yeah,
year
yeah.
of buying a new car.
Okay.
And this is kind of an example of what happens if you skip that year, you end up overspending. Not by $66,000, but you end up ultimately losing, you lose safety, there's a whole host.
Is it usually an annual expense, like a
Pretty
new
much,
cruiser?
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I advocated years ago that we put it on the yearly budget, but that doesn't happen, so that's worth
Capital expense. All right, yes.
it. So,
Okay, I understand now.
okay,
So,
is there any further discussion on the amendment?
Nope.
Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of the amendment signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, that is unanimous. The motion now reads, Police Department, Police Department 210, salaries in $1,349,148, and expenses of $186,108, for a total budget of, and I went through all the trouble doing it.
1,535, right?
I got 1535246.
$1,535,256. Do we agree?
Yes.
56 or 55? It's
I
written.
have 55.
I have 55.
Sorry.
Okay. 55 to $1,535,255. Okay.
Oh, I don't have
Did you get that one? Last time? Okay, thank you.
I don't have
210?
that one. Yeah, I don't
It's
have-
like, let me see.
This is an earlier.
Yeah, but don't go off of my sheet, because my numbers and the
Oh,
salaries do not
that's-
equal
This
hers,
isn't
and it's off by
early.
4.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I was getting confused by
Oh,
that.
see, this is
I'm
the
going
one
by
that
that.
Whatever she's got 1349148. That's what she has for salaries.
And that's 19108, correct?
1349148 is salaries, that's what she has. And the expenses are 19108, which we amended and changed to 1.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's got
There's
it tallied
pennies,
wrong.
there's pennies in the budget, that's the problem. There's pennies in the budget.
It's a rounding error.
Oh, it's just a rounding error, Bill.
Oh,
It's a rounding
See, like
error.
Oh.
this and this is 16, but there's pennies, there's pennies in the
Cut
budget.
it
oh,
down.
no.
We know
Yeah.
this already,
Yeah.
Christine
Cutting pennies
found
out
them
of
all.
the budget.
It's cutting the pennies.
So,
Rounds it
Are you
up.
supposed to round up or round down?
I just want to verify
You,
that total
you
amount.
don't put pennies, you round up or down,
Before-
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Just need a solid.
So it would
because
be
those
fi-
pennies
it-
add up.
It would be
Yeah.
6,
And we
correct?
find
She's
them,
saying
and
they're
we'll put the
running
budget
down.
line item in the budget.
Yeah.
So what's the total, guys?
How many times you
Yeah,
count.
1,535,256.
That's what I thought.
Sorry, Brittany.
Sorry, Brittany.
We're trying real hard.
We're having an adding
Yeah,
problem.
Okay,
This-
all right.
Yeah, I know.
And then, just to reiterate, that's a total
Yeah, I was
budget of
round up.
$1,535,256. All right, we got this now.
Okay.
All right. Is there any further discussion
Did
on
we
the?
need to second anything before you?
No.
Okay, all right.
No, it's already, the motion's
All right.
been seconded, it was amended, that was seconded. That was seconded and voted on, now we have the total motion.
Okay.
This budget
What's our
has
problem with
pennies
Terry
in
thinking
it.
of that?
If they
Did I
fix
get it?
it,
I think so.
it might end up being the same number that's already on here. There's pennies in the budget, Bill, that's why that's happening.
So should we wait to get it amended? or-
I would,
What do
it's
we-
up to you guys, it's gonna be
Well, it's
off of a.
5,000, it's 25 down.
We're good.
We
Total amount.
voted on that.
Yeah.
It-
Okay.
Yeah,
If we overrun by a
With the
penny, we'll
Penny,
work it out.
I'm
Yeah.
not,
Okay.
or a
All
dollar.
right,
The extra
Yeah.
buck.
thank you. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? We have a winner.
Okay,
Bingo.
so the budget's been approved,
Excellent,
correct?
yes.
Okay,
Tell the police chief that she can take next Wednesday, or the next meeting off because she's got her budget through. Now, are you gonna represent that to the
Yes.
select board?
Yeah, I think it's good to have that.
That's fine, I
Public
just
hearing.
wanted to,
Yeah.
make sure that's what you were gonna do,
Yeah.
that's all. All right, cool. All right, now, what's the next one?
all right.
Get on with this, because I think we got it easy for the rest of the road, I think, so. That's what he said. Communications, well, this one might be a
This-
little, this one might get a little ticklish. Okay, can you see that, Scott?
Oh, yeah, actually, I found it here.
Oh, you found it.
So I move to approve the communications budget, department number 222, in the amount of total salaries, $296,893, for a total budget of $314,072.
Throwing expenses.
And, my bad. And total expenses, $17,179.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for communications, Department 222, in the amount of $296,893 for salaries and $17,179 in expenses, for a total budget of $314,072. Now, I just want to make one comment while we're here. We do indeed receive an offset on this from a grant. The amount for that grant is $196,900.
Huh?
So that's according to this spreadsheet that
That's
I
what it
have
says on the
compiled
spreadsheet.
by Gabrielle,
169.
169.
900.
900.
I thought you said 196.
You did.
Did I?
That's okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
you
did say
169,
196,
yeah.
It's
Oh, thank you,
late.
thank you, Sandy. Oh, my God, bailed me out of that.
This has been a
It'll be
long
long
week.
night, we gotta get out of here. Oh, heaven. All right, so roughly $144,172 ends up in the taxpayers' hands. That $169,900 falls to free cash, and we, that's kind of where the $200,000 comes to reduce the tax rate. So for the benefit of the audience out there. So this actually doesn't really cost the taxpayers a great deal of money on the tax rate.
One quick comment.
Yes,
Most of the expenses are due to a new system for recording all telecommunications. The phones, the radios, and the 911 calls for all three towns. That's where the majority of the expense, the rise in the expenses come in, which has a high percentage change, but is really only $36.79 in dollars.
The
So,
sound,
It's like mainly salary and just this annual maintenance agreement.
and
so,
the annual maintenance agreement kind of made, take a leap And that's not a one-time deal, that's the,
That is an annual maintenance agreement. That will be baked into the budget going forward.
That's awesome.
But look what it's doing, though, I mean,
But-
look what
Oh,
it's doing.
It's gonna be,
It's not-
yeah, yeah.
It's just like, oh my God, we're being bombarded by this software thing.
Well, it used to
Every
be-
year it's something.
It
It's
used to be
it's
covered by
salary
somebody
and
else. It
stuff.
used to be covered by the 911 system.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
recently I went through and helped them go through and,
Yeah, I get it.
they put in a new system and started recording the calls,
Yeah.
on their own system, so.
That's,
But the
how
funny
does
thing,
that
so
work,
when
how
do
does
you
that
get,
system work with the was it Code Red? Code Red? Does that?
That's a separate-
the reverse 911, reverse 911, that's the one.
It's,
Code
it's,
Red, right?
it's code red, but it's entirely separate.
They're
It's in a
separate.
different
Yeah.
budget.
Okay, all right, different, yeah, I know that's.
Different
an
budget,
emergency
different
management,
system,
but are they-
different
Are they
technology.
cohesive, or are we gonna have to buy
So-
another piece of software to make them work together?
I'll see if I can manage that.
when do you see these expenses come in? What time of the year?
It's killing me.
Because those expenses are real low right now.
In
salaries are
the
too.
January ones?
Well, because you're into January, you know, you're almost a little over half the
January
year, and you've only
18th.
got 3,000 into it, and you, I was just curious when these
I
These
couldn't tell you that off the top of my head.
come in.
They could be,
They come in. Well, the salaries are, yeah, how can I say this without
The
somebody-
the salaries,
We
aren't-
overestimated over the years in this category.
I'm not looking at the right budget.
Bam, there we are.
There you go.
Yeah. Oop, oop,
I
yeah.
looked at it right now.
I should do this.
Communications, yeah.
Should
Yeah,
practice hard.
it's
Salaries
just-
are low, but.
Salaries are real low, yeah.
Well-
And that's,
That is because we have the grant, and the grant is salary heavily driven, okay? We take free cash and place it in, to reduce the tax rate.
reflected into these numbers here.
No, of course not, but so those numbers there fall to free cash. Whatever salary numbers are left over falls to free cash, okay? So that's why the town votes to take $200,000 from free cash and reduce the tax rate with it because of the budgeting of this department, okay?
Because the grant is mostly for salaries.
The grant is mostly for salaries. The only other thing the grant contributes to is the retirement assessment of these communication workers.
So you have to budget for the full salaries.
That's
But then
what's been done.
169,000 reduces those salaries, but then that reduction becomes free cash.
So when you look at
Right,
the
so that's
sa-
why we
Did I
take
get
free
that
cash
right?
and reduce all of the budget by $200,000.
Okay.
It could be
So-
just the 170 of salaries if we wanted, but
So that's why we're seeing lower actuals, because you are actually reducing each of these.
each line items?
no,
Okay,
when payroll is prepared
yeah,
for a certain amount of time, let's just say from August to February,
Mhm.
the salaries are paid out of the grant account and not out of this account, which is why you see that budget not having large salary
So that you can
expenses.
show that the grant paid for those salaries, but then you have free cash left over because you have to budget for those salaries, which leaves that and then you slide that over.
Right.
So then what's
For
the
free
true
cash later.
actual on this thing?
yeah.
Well, what's the actuals on this thing, cause it's very confusing.
Well, the actuals on this thing are really what's in the budget. And if you wanna see
Well, then.
the actual salaries that are charged to the fund, that is the grant, I certainly can provide you that information. So,
It'd be nice to know at some point, I mean, we don't need it for tonight, I don't think, but
Yeah.
whether the actuals and the voted budget are in sync.
Right.
they are,
Okay.
okay?
Okay,
So because the rate that you see over there is the same rate that's charged to the grant, times however many hours, times however many weeks, the grant is used. But I definitely could provide you the expenditures from that grant account. It's the only thing in that fund that belongs to the communications.
Okay.
Nothing else goes in that fund.
I think at some point, I'd
Yeah.
kind of like to see it, but
See a
Yeah.
better, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I
A
would.
future meeting, that would be helpful to have,
Yeah.
of course, just a little.
'Cause you
So,
can
but
always-
but the true
spreadsheet.
picture, I just wanna point out, the true picture of the salaries is right here.
That's
Even
what-
though you don't see it being spent from this department, because it's being spent out of the grant department, this is the true picture of the salaries. Okay, there's nothing left over.
The communications, I've kind of looked at this for a lot of years, and it's kind of, it seems like a rather convoluted way to do it, but it's, because we reduce the tax rate, it ends up washing it out, because we actually reduce the tax rate by a greater amount than the $169,900, we go to $200,000, so use free cash to reduce the tax rate by, $30,000 more just for round numbers. So and if we were to adjust the budget downward, then I don't know if the grant would cover it. I was just thought of that. If we were to say,
Level
just-
fund it
if we were to,
to
well,
last year's
for
number?
example, a level funding or something of that nature, if we were to lower it in any manner, the grant, it may endanger the grant maybe.
How does that
Well,
affect
she has
the
to,
grant?
so what she does to get the grant is she reports what the rates are for each person that is in here. And they don't give her a full amount, but they give her dollars as, I don't even know what they use as the calculation of what the dollars are, but
Yeah, they just, well,
I think the only things that you may be interested in is overtime, to see if that is actually $14,000, let's
Right.
just say,
right,
and the reserves. Okay?
right.
But the others, that is their contractual rate of pay, along with their, shift diffs and all that
Okay.
stuff. So
Yeah, that
If you
would,
look,
those, like, if you look at my salary line, I budget exactly what it's gonna be for 52 point whatever days of the year.
Yeah.
So by the time the end of the year is there, there's 0 left. So that's true for these here also.
mhm.
The only ones being different would be, like I said, reserves, which she doesn't have anything, yeah, that's coverage for vacation, personal, holiday, sick, and then overtime. That is where you may have budget left over. I can't
haven't had it.
I can't
past
tell you
three-
right now what that,
They haven't had that in the past 3 years. We've
Under
had, but
budgeted.
money's been moved into that in the overtime. Shift differential hasn't been,
well, we haven't moved money in because there's been money left over
well,
because of the
right,
grant.
the
Right.
money and the salaries kind of ebbs and tides a little bit, but this has a nice
So then this
accounting of it.
doesn't
This
really
thing here has a nice accounting of it, if you look.
But do you take the hundred and
If you look
sixty-nine
at
off
the
of that?
overtime, you look at the
That's what's
overtime budget
confusing.
here,
Yeah.
you see how it's gone, it went over a bit.
If those are the actual numbers that I was dealing with, what do you take the 169 away from that, so it zeroes itself out?
Ultimately, I suppose,
mean,
if
that's
you were
where
to
I'm
take the time, if you were to take the time and add these up each year, you'd probably find that these numbers are gonna be pretty close to 169, 170,000.
Well, in these years,
Oh.
like 21, 20, and 19, it might not have been 169,000
Oh,
Right.
either.
Right,
So-
right, yeah, that grant
so
amount
there's
does
that whole,
change
then that
slightly.
whole thing is missing a calculation into it then.
This?
Communications, yeah. From what
Yeah,
you're
because
saying.
you've got an overage, but we know there's gonna be an
Yeah.
overage because we got a grant being
Mm,
used.
Right,
So I think I was speaking that if you want, no, I'm not gonna go there.
don't go there.
No, I wouldn't.
Don't go
From
any
just
farther.
Judging by
Alright,
the
so
sounds in
I
the
just wanna make
grant,
sure that
I don't
we're
know
doing
if
it
I
right.
would I wouldn't reduce anything, but also I
No,
don't think I would,
but-
I would even stay away from level funding, only because you're, I get
You don't
that
wanna
it's a.
jeopardize the grant, you really
Right,
don't.
and I
That's-
get that the amount of money is there, but
Right,
if we're not reporting a proper amount, we may jeopardize the grant.
Yeah.
And I don't
Right.
know, it's kind of like the library.
Well, see,
we
she-
talk
like-
about the libraries,
Yeah.
if you happen to do something with your hours or how things are working with the library, you can jeopardize grants that you get from the library, so
If you don't
won't-
spend enough in books, let's just say,
Yeah,
that's one of the
that's a good
calculations.
example.
Right.
So we don't wanna do, we don't wanna,
I don't have any problem with that.
that's one of
Okay.
those.
You know, we're
Danger
taking care of it
things.
by reducing the tax rate by more
Absolutely.
than the
And we're
salaries.
offsetting it by-
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just wanna
You know
make
what I
sure I'm
So-
doing that, you know, just.
It's-
All right.
When it says all three towns, it's Dalton, Hinsdale, and Windsor, and
And is fire district?
Police and fire.
Yeah.
so like the sewer for the assessors, does Hinsdale and Windsor compensate Dalton for doing dispatch for them, or is that what the grant is for?
I missed the sewer piece. I don't
Well,
understand what you mean by
like the
that.
sewer, like, we're almost like a pass-through, right? Like Hinsdale pays us for the sewer.
That's it.
And then Pittsfield charges us for it,
We calculate Hinsdale flows,
but.
Pittsfield calculates
That
Dalton
wasn't
and
really my-
Hinsdale together.
Right, but my question, like, is this here, because I know that Hinsdale pays us for the sewer.
Yes.
Does Hinsdale pay us for?
Yes, for dispatch, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to confuse.
Yeah,
it with the sewer thing, it was
twice
just-
a year they get a bill based on.
Which kind of offsets these
Some of
salaries
these
as well,
salaries.
right?
Right, and we
Okay.
also
And expenses?
take away the grant amount.
The wind is
Is
coming.
that,
Before we-
is that
Thought I heard.
reflected here anywhere?
What, they're billing?
Well, the money we get from Hinsdale to offset the
No,
salaries.
that'd be
Oh,
in
okay.
No. That goes in the general
fund.
fund. This goes in the general fund, that goes in the general fund.
No worries. I think
Okay.
this was, I saw all three towns on there, and I was like, how did that get
Yeah.
calculated?
I've been, I don't, is it rain or wind? I've been
Rain,
listening, I
sleet,
keep
whatever.
turning my
Let's
head,
kind of move
look
this along here.
outside.
I'd like to kind of-
The wind came first and now the rain.
Oh,
I'd like
okay, I
to
wasn't
say
sure, I'm
forth
looking
here,
outside and I'm
everybody,
going.
so
See the
let's,
rain now.
Just, is there any more
Yeah.
questions about
Right.
that? I really feel like we take care of it with the reduction of the tax
We
rate.
do,
So-
and that
No,
was,
no, good. We
when
just
you and I
trying
had
to make-
talked, Sandy, that was the part that I remembered because of my discussions with Ken and Terry over the years. I remembered that's what that 200 was for, so, all right. Is everyone good with what's going on with that budget now?
All
It
okay?
it is a little confusing, so it's good to go over it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Seeing or hearing any further discussion on the communications budget, all in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All of those opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone. On
Got two left.
to animal control. Yeah, we're gonna take all the little kitties climbing the trees and whatever else we can manage to take good care of out there.
Alright, so I move to approve the animal control budget, department number 292. Total salaries, $25,303. Total expenses, $6,250, and that is a total budget of $31,553.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded for the animal control department 292 in the amount of $25,303 for salaries and $6,250 for expenses for a total budget of $31,553.
Looks like it's really just
You're
gas.
gonna be the vice chair, you know that, don't you?
I'll have to work on my motions. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say that it looks like it's just gasoline.
Yeah,
Gasoline seems to be driving the rise.
yeah, that's it.
How come the salary only went up 1.63?
It's a stipend.
Oh.
No, it's a
For
salary.
the, are you who are you doing?
Oh, no, it is a salary.
It is a salary.
That's grade
But-
6, step 3.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not
Grade
a,
6, step 3?
not a 40-hour position or a 36-hour position.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
20-hour position.
It was 20.
Oh, so you anticipate, yeah, that was something that I was wondering about this, is overtime. It's a 20-hour position, but we pay overtime, so anything over 20 hours in a week, we pay overtime on that? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's probably one of the
I
officers.
would say
already.
yes.
So the officer's already working, he does his 20 hours
Should be
here, and then
21, 27.
overtime is.
Yeah.
Whatever's
I
behind
would
it.
say, yeah.
2080.
It's
Put down
not,
2080
Your
for
contract's
some
for
reason.
20.
Yeah,
Why is it, why wouldn't
the
the
FY
hours-
25 pay rate is wrong.
Okay.
All right,
It should be 2127.
Let me look where that could have come from.
so do we need to amend
so
the
we
budget?
need,
Yeah.
why don't we just table until you get a new one? Get
Table?
back
Yeah,
to
let's
us.
table this.
Let's table it.
I'll entertain a motion to table.
Motion to table.
Make a motion table.
That's
Motion's been made and
25,
seconded
that's
to
24.
table animal control. All those in favor signify in the usual manner. All those opposed, that is unanimous, that has been tabled.
That was a good catch, though.
Nice catch.
Yeah, the number doesn't matter.
Go.
Table, what's today's date,
28.
28. Okay, all right.
Is animal control usually done by like a police officer? Or
Nope.
Okay.
No,
It's a
that's
different
not.
person altogether.
Yes,
You know what?
Yeah.
It could be because
Very
the
nice. thing.
stipend
He did-
comes off of,
Yeah.
although that says
He was a
2049
really nice
for
man.
24. Yeah, I think we
He was
fixed that.
kinda,
I don't know where she.
he was ready to retire.
It should
Yeah,
be
we had a
that.
huge bear in our neighborhood.
Last year it was 2049, this is last year,
Big black bear.
Yeah.
And,
which is what is the step 2.
all right, last but not least,
Yeah.
emergency management.
Yeah.
So it should have gone to.
We ready for a motion?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
we're
is-
patiently waiting on this side of the
Now,
table.
we're trying to-
Can you scroll up for me? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a little carried away with the scroll.
I just don't know where this
There we
paper is.
go,
Alright.
295.
Motion to approve the emergency management budget number 295. Total salaries amount $12,730 with total expenses $14,500 for a total budget of $27,330.
No, 230,
230.
27.
Oh, I'm sorry, $27,230. Apologize.
Second,
Motion
Let her
made,
know.
great
seconded
job.
for emergency management, the Department 295, in the amount of $12,730 in salaries and $14,500 in expenses for a total budget of $27,230. Yes.
I have one question, and it's in other purchases. I noticed that there is a maintenance of a Ranger UTV and a refurbishment of EM trailer. Should that be in purchases, or should that be in maintenance of vehicles or equipment? In its own little separate category rather than in other purchases. And what are those numbers?
Other purchase services is a category that entails
Catch up.
when people repair things too. So what were you saying it should be under? Those things?
Some new,
Some new
number.
category.
New
Do you
purchases.
wanna keep track of what your maintenance is gonna be on in a, whatever, a Ranger? Trailers,
Some
those are,
Rangers trailer.
Utility, it's an all utility,
Yeah, do they
What do you
s-
call
they
those?
probably
no,
send
no,
it out
that's,
to
I
this
just have a
utility
question,
trailer.
I don't know if you wanna keep
They
track of
probably
it.
send that out to an outfitter to have the bearing,
Well,
like
yeah,
we do with our trailers.
I
with
know,
bearings
like
and
we
stuff
do with
like
our
that, yeah.
stuff, but I didn't know if you wanted to keep that separate from other purchases and services.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
where do you wanna put it?
Think it's its own category, so you know how much it costs you to deal with equipment like that.
Supplies and equipment for,
If not, then it's not a big deal. It was all my only question, if it's not a big, you know.
I mean, that's like 12,000.
that's a number. The Ranger is what's expensive. He's got,
Is that the
that
measurement?
includes the cost of code, oh, it's got, now see,
It's got code red in it.
yeah, why isn't code red up? Code red is the part that should be sitting aside someplace. Code red's like software or something like that, isn't it?
Well, it's a communication tool. Other
Yeah,
software.
because of the server, yeah.
It's in a purchases category, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
So I guess it's a catch-all.
Yeah.
It is a
I
catch-all.
just didn't know if you needed a breakdown in the emergency management section, that's all. When it comes
Need
down
to be
to
more
it.
granular.
really the new expenses, I think, are for the Community Emergency Response Team, which is CERT. He's going to ramp up what I think is one of the great programs an emergency manager can engage in, which is getting some neighborhood awareness for emergencies where there might not be any help for 48 hours. So the first 48 hours are really important if power goes down, roads are blocked, that kind of thing. And so he's going to be starting this community emergency response team program. And that's, he's going to be, the maintenance, the refurbishment of the EM trailer is, he says, to be used for CERT team equipment deployment. So he's kind of changing the purpose of the trailer as it exists, plus some supplies and equipment for the CERT team. That's not much stuff, it's organizational, maybe a vest or two per team,
I just didn't know
that
how.
sort of thing.
So the Ranger is a utility terrain vehicle, is what
Right,
it is.
yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
fun.
It's a side, it's what's known as a side-by-side in the power sports world.
Seems really fun.
How do I know this? I love power sports.
They've always had that. It's
Yeah.
stored at the fire station, as I understand it.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't moved it, considering how tight things are at the fire station. They haven't moved it over to the own garage, not the.
They didn't add any software, so that was pretty good. So if
Yeah.
we're saving money, I mean, it's-
No no $10,000
yeah, no, it's
software
ordering.
Hey,
update.
don't jinx us for
I
next
know,
year,
right?
wait a minute.
Imaging software.
Are there any other questions or concerns with emergency management?
No.
Seeing
No.
or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, everyone. That is the conclusion of our meeting tonight. Our next meeting will be held March 13th, and that will be our regularly scheduled meeting.
Mhm.
So we've got a relatively light schedule for that
You have a
evening.
lot of budgets that evening.
Well, there's a real
Yeah,
large
we
number of them in the
Yeah.
in the meeting after that.
Which
But
is
they
when?
kept it light because of the
The
CBRSD,
next
but
week.
that has changed. So if it was possible, I'd like
To get
to
a little
appeal to our
extra?
town manager to see if
Could we get-
maybe we can
get
get
a
some
few
extra ones
extra?
done by the select board, because the 20th meeting will be rather heavy with CBRSD.
Yeah, I think by then they'll have all of the budgets done.
Okay.
The select board should, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So they're
we
doing
may
it
go
here.
kinda
They're
heavy
doing
on our
these
next meeting.
Yeah, they're doing the rest of them
Can
on
I
the
make a
11th.
motion to adjourn?
Not listening.
Second.
Do I have to make a
I'm
motion?
listening, yes.
Do I second it?
We can
I
take
think we have a motion and a second.
Motion been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify in the manner.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
So